Hello everyone. So in this tutorial we're going to be looking at how we can set up the mixer in FL Studio to prepare for parallel compression. If you're not sure what parallel compression is, it's basically sending an uncompressed signal as well as a compressed signal to the master channel or to a bus, then the master channel. And the best thing about this is that you keep the dynamic range intact, and you also get a more consistent sound, and if you want to bring up some low volume stuff, that'll happen as well. You can read more about that in our introduction to it, which I'll leave a link to. This is quite a basic video, so if you know the ins and outs of mix routing in FL Studio, you may find it a little bit boring. So it's just put that out there now. So what we're going to do is basically create two tracks and send our drum loop, which we're going to use, or any other sound you want to use, into these two tracks, and then back into a bus, and then finally to the master. So first thing I'm going to do is insert a drum loop, which I'll leave a download link to. So I'll insert this into the playlist, and then what I'll do is change the tempo to 128, which is the tempo of the loop. And I'll just play this for you quickly. Nothing amazing. And I'll assign this to insert 1. Next I'm going to rename this to drums. Give it a nice color, yellow. And then what I'm going to do is create two more tracks, or rename two more inserts. First one being pcomp dry and pcomp wet. So we're basically going to send the drums into both of these channels, and then these will go into a bus and then the master. You might be thinking, why can't I just create a pcomp wet and then send the drums to the master as well? Because of course they'll be dry. You can do that, and if you're using just a drum loop in your song, then there's not a problem. But most songs you want to use more than just a drum loop. You know what I mean? You want some bass, you want some synths, and the problem is that when you have bass and synths, they all send to the master. So if you wanted to affect the drums as a whole, for example, you want to add some high pass automation, you would have to do it on the master channel, or you would have to do it on the drums and the compressed signal, and it would just be inefficient and it would take too much time. So that's why we're going to create a bus. So finally, rename insert 4 to pcomp bus. So the next thing we're going to do is actually send this drums track into both of these two, not the bus, but just pcomp dry and pcomp wet. So to do this, we simply click on this upwards arrow while having the drums channel selected, not track, sorry. So do the same for both of those, and finally unclick it from the master. That way we won't have two dry signals going to the master. Next, you're just going to want to bring the volume down of these a bit, just because it's going to be quite loud. You've got two of the same tracks. Okay, it's sounding pretty good. Now, typically we would add compression on the wet track, but I'm not going to go through the compression side of things today. This is merely just preparing for parallel compression and setting up the mixer. So finally, we would send these two tracks into a bus by going right-clicking route to this track only. And so you've got all these tracks here going to this bus, which sends to the master. So you can see that if I mute these two channels, there's no sound. If I mute the bus channel, there's no sound either. So if we wanted to add reverb or EQ the whole thing, we could do it on this. So I hope this helped a bit. Like I said, it is sort of an easy thing. If you know your mixer routing, then you probably, just wasted 5 minutes of your life, which I have to apologize for. But hopefully it helps some of you. And I'll see you in the next video where we look more into compression.